In the war-torn kingdom of Azalon, the skies weep ash and the fields burn. For generations, the clash of steel and the roar of arcane fire have been the only constants. Armies march under a perpetual blood-red twilight, fueled by a deep-seated hatred between the royal house and the ostracized witches of the borderlands. It is a world drowning in its own animosity, where hope is a forgotten currency and peace is a myth whispered by the old. The king, a man hardened by endless conflict, sees only one path to victory: complete annihilation of his enemies. He prepares his legions for one final, devastating assault, convinced that only through absolute dominance can Azalon know peace. But destiny, as it often does, has other plans. Woven in the threads of a forgotten prophecy and the meeting of two souls from opposing worlds, one night, driven by a restlessness he couldn't name, Prince Kael, the kingdom's heir, found himself wandering far from the palace walls. He was known for his skill with a blade, but his heart was weary of the bloodshed he was born into. His steps led him into the forbidden borderlands, a place of shadow and superstition, where ancient ruins clawed at the moonlit sky. It was there, amidst the crumbling stones of a forgotten era, that he saw her. Elara, she moved with a silent grace, her fingers tracing the patterns on a moss-covered monolith, her presence a stark contrast to the violence that defined their world. She was a witch, one of the very people he was taught to despise. Yet, in that moment, under the silver glow of the moon, all he saw was a profound, captivating mystery. Their eyes met, a spark of recognition passing between them, an unspoken understanding that transcended the war and their titles. That first encounter was the beginning of many. Secretly, Kael and Elara would meet in the sanctuary of the ruins. Their clandestine world a stark contrast to the escalating war beyond. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives, their dreams, and the pain their people carried. Kael spoke of the suffocating weight of his crown, the expectation to be a warrior when he yearned to be a builder. Elara revealed the beauty and balance of her magic, a power not for destruction, but for healing and growth. A truth twisted by generations of fear and propaganda. With each shared secret, the walls between them crumbled, replaced by a deep and powerful affection. He saw the kindness in her magic, and she saw the honor in his heart. Their bond became a fragile beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness. But their stolen moments of peace could not hold back the tide of war. Back in the capital, the king's obsession with victory intensified. His generals spoke of new siege weapons, of tactics that would leave the borderlands a barren wasteland. Kael's pleas for diplomacy, for understanding, were dismissed as the naivety of youth. He was torn between his duty to his father and his love for Elara, a love that showed him a different path, a better future. The tension was a tightening knot in his chest. He knew that the king's final assault was imminent. A storm that would not only destroy Elara's home but also extinguish the last glimmer of hope for Azalon. The weight of his impending choice was crushing. Would he stand with his kingdom in its blind rage, or would he stand for the love that had redefined his world? During one of their desperate meetings, while searching for answers in the ancient texts of the ruins, they stumbled upon it, a prophecy hidden in plain sight. It spoke of a time when the land would bleed, when a prince of the sun and a daughter of the moon would unite their strengths, not to conquer, but to heal. The prophecy described their union not as a weapon, but as a bridge. It foretold that their combined power, the strength of royal steel, and the wisdom of ancient magic would create a force capable of ending the cycle of hatred. As the king's war horns echoed from the distance, signaling the start of the final battle, Kael and Elara looked at each other. There was no more time for secrets. The prophecy wasn't just an old story. It was their destiny. They knew what they had to do. They would face the oncoming armies, not as enemies, but together. The battlefield was a vision of hell. The air was thick with the scent of iron and the screams of the dying. The king's army, a relentless wave of steel, crashed against the desperate magical defenses of the witches. It was into this chaos that Kale and Alara walked, hand in hand. They stood between the two warring sides, a solitary island in a sea of fury. Soldiers from Kale's own ranks stared in disbelief, and the witches faltered in their incantations, stunned by the sight of their own united with the enemy prince. Ignoring the shouts of betrayal and confusion, Kale raised his ancestral sword, its polished surface reflecting the fires of war. Beside him, Alara began a chant, her voice clear and steady, weaving threads of pure energy. As his blade met her magic, an explosion of brilliant, golden light erupted from them. It wasn't a blast of destruction, but a shield, a dome of pure energy that expanded across the entire battlefield, forcing every soldier, every witch, to a standstill. The light pulsed with a warmth that seemed to seep into the very soul, silencing the rage and revealing the shared humanity of everyone present. In the stunning silence that followed, the light of the shield slowly faded, revealing a new dawn breaking over the horizon. The blood-red sky was gone, replaced by the soft hues of pink and gold. The war was over. The fighting had stopped, not by force of arms, but by an undeniable demonstration of unity. The sight of the prince and the witch, standing together, their powers intertwined, shattered the generations of hatred. It was a living prophecy, an undeniable truth that could not be ignored. In the days that followed, the healing of Azalon began. Kale and Alara, their love now a symbol of a new era, worked tirelessly to bridge the divide. They oversaw the rebuilding of homes, the replanting of fields, and more importantly, the mending of hearts. From the highest castle parapet, they stood together, watching their people royals and witches, alike working, side by side, under the morning sun. Finally, building the peaceful kingdom they had both dreamed of. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of Azalon, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more epic tales. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Kale and Ilara's story. We'll see you in the next video.